Hey, what's going on with my party people? What's going on with my family, man? How y'all doing, man? Hey, I appreciate y'all for checking me back. It's another episode of the Common Sense Podcast. Cheers. What's going on with y'all, man? Welcome to episode 3, Common Sense Podcast. I'm your host, Mac1. Thank y'all for checking me out again. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to the first few episodes, and we just gonna keep it going, baby. Nothing to the top, guys. I hope y'all weekend was good. I know mine was dope. We definitely had a 420 weekend. We had some big fights. It was just a lot of things, some new beefs that arrived. So we're just gonna get into it, and we're just gonna talk about the weekend. I will want to talk about my weekend. Super dope. Kind of went by a little quick. It was fun, but it was good. I enjoyed myself. 420 weekend was Friday or Saturday. I worked, had a long day at my shop. I work at a dispensary, so I had a long day at the shop. When I got off work, I got lit. But what I realized about this 420 is I'm old. My body ain't the same like it used to be when I was fresh 15, 16, 18, 20, 21, 25 at least, you know what I mean? Smoking weed, I could smoke joints all day, bong rips, all of that type of stuff. My body ain't the same. I had smoked a blunt and went to sleep. You know what I mean? But that's just kind of how my weekend started after I got off, man. It was dope. It was chill, play with the family. All that. Let's get into it, though. Right into it. I'm going to start y'all with this joint right there. Hold on, y'all.
Tell you this, I would never lose to a white boy in my life. I don't care what nobody got to say. Listen, can't no white boy beat me on any day of the week.
Hey, talk that shit, Dan.
Fight a white boy 10 times, I'm gonna beat him 10 times.
Well, Mr. Haney put his foot in his mouth this weekend, right? That was Devin Haney. This past weekend, we had the Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney fight. Definitely a big fight, something I was looking forward to. Definitely a redemption match for Ryan Garcia after his performance against Tank. This was a stepping stone for Devin Haney to continue to be undefeated, but he was stopped. He definitely got stopped, and if you watch this fight, it looked ugly early for Devin Haney, right? It looked very ugly for Devin Haney. Like most of us know, we expected Ryan to come out swinging. We expected Ryan to, you know, walk you down, try to be aggressive the first few rounds. That's what we expected, right? And we didn't get that. He did his thing. He did walk down Devin a few times. You know what I mean? He was able to stay in front of him. He was able to let that left hook get into contact as well. You know what I mean? And ultimately, he was able to stop Devin Haney, which watching Devin Haney, he just didn't look like the Devin Haney I'm used to seeing for the most part. You know, I think he was outclassed by Ryan Haney. And for the most part, I think Tank is gonna whoop his ass too. If Devin was taking those punches from Ryan Garcia with just that left like that, and he was still in there until like the 8th round or whatever it might have been, ain't no way Devin Haney's taking them punches from Tank. Just ain't no way. And you already know there's gonna be a rehydration clause on that. And before I continue, for you dumbass people out there talking about, well, it was a rehydration clause with the Tank and the Ryan. If Ryan looked like that against Haney, he would have definitely beat Tank. Well, probably, possibly, but it's a contract. That's what he signed in his contract versus Tank. And for those that don't know what a rehydration clause is, I'm gonna just give you like the overall, right? It might not be right on, but pretty much the rehydration clause limits a fighter from gaining weight after they do a weigh-in, right? So most people or most boxers, especially like your 5'9", 5'10" boxers who normally walk around, let's say a 5'9" Ryan Garcia walks around, maybe, you know, not training, let's say 160, right? I'll give him 160. When he gets into boxing shape, he probably drops 20 pounds, right? Gets him to the 140, right? 140, 145 mark, 147 area, right? So a Tank who is 135, a much smaller guy than he is, naturally just a much smaller guy, easily for him to lose weight to maintain 135, right? Once Ryan dehydrates himself to make 135, he is not allowed to boost 10 pounds back or whatever that limit be. And usually it's 10 to 15 pounds, right? That he can able to get back, right? So 135, 135.5 Ryan Garcia after he weighs in can hydrate himself back up to 140, 143, right? What we just saw against Devin Haney, right? Devin didn't have that clause in there, right? So that's what you get out of that. And so again, people, that's the contract, right? If Ryan felt like he was confident enough, right? Or if he didn't feel like he was confident enough to win that fight against Tank under those conditions, he should have never fought him, right? And then if he did go ahead and agree to sign that contract, then bro, prepare, like understanding that, hey, me doing this, I might not be at my full strength, or I might not be at my full. What can I do to prep for that, right? So again, I don't look at it as, cheating or whatnot, but hey, that's just a part of the game. And these guys aren't the only ones that's doing it, right? They're just probably the ones that's accepting that shit, right? So that's that. But again, I think Ryan had a hell of a fight, and for all Devin to be talking that IQ shit, that ain't nobody gonna beat me, this was disappointing. But for him, I know it was definitely a humbling experience. It was definitely a humbling lesson for Haney. You know what I mean? I guarantee next fight he won't underestimate his next opponent, right? And I think after this fight, we definitely know that Devin Haney might be a monster, right? Hopefully it's a humbling situation. He doesn't underestimate anybody else going forward, and he is able to, become what he's, be the greatness for the most part. Definitely not going to be the TB. He lost that shit. He lost one. So get that Floyd shit out of there, brother. But I definitely want to play this because to me, this shit is hilarious.
NGQ, doing what I do. All white, looking nice. Okay, come through.
I don't know if Ryan Garcia is taking the fight serious or not.
Right. So that's what we all anticipated. Ryan had a lot of antics leading up to this fight with his tweets, with the videos that he was posting. It was just a lot of information. And again, it made most of us seem like he wasn't taking it serious. And then bam, pulls the wool from over our eyes. This man was prepared for this moment. He was willing, like he said in that interview, he was willing to die, and he was really to kill in that ring against Devin Haney night 8, and he showed it. Devin Haney just got outclassed tonight, right? And of course, you're not gonna see his dad say no. His dad walked him to that ass whooping. Let's be honest, his dad walked him into that ass whooping. But that's another story. That's another situation from like that. But again, congratulations to the young bull, Ryan. You definitely redeemed yourself. Now, of course, everybody's looking forward to. Well, we want to see what he looks like against Tank at that weight, which we're not going to. I don't think we're going to see that. I don't think we're going to see him. I don't think we're going to see Tank going to that level, to that weight. I don't think it makes sense for Tank. And hey, if Tank is ducking, then hey, he deserved that right at this point. He's still a face of boxing. I don't care what people say with Ryan after this fight. Ryan's not the face of boxing. Tank, to me, is still the face of boxing, regardless of what anybody says, regardless of this fight, even though it was a great win and Ryan showcased all of his talents, still not the face yet. Maybe he wins another one, whoever he fights in that Tiafimo or whoever, maybe he'll redeem that and get that then, but no. And the next thing up we're looking for as far as the fights go, Tank and Boots, right? Jared Ennis versus Gervonta Davis. That's the big fight that everybody's looking forward to. That's what we are anticipating now going forward. Like I said, hopefully Devin learns. Hopefully he is able to come back from this fight and, move forward, right? So yeah, so that's that. The next topic I'm going to talk about, y'all, BMF. If anybody's seeing BMF, this is a episode 8 spoiler. If you have not seen it, you might want to turn your mics down. Turn your headphones down, turn this off in the car, whatever you want to do. But I'm about to spoil the shit out this episode, only because it wasn't the greatest. It probably was one of their best ones, but not the greatest, right? Episode 8. Meech returns to Atlanta. He was in St. Louis trying to get away from the Red Dogs, trying to beat a murder case and these things like that. So he just wanted to go to St. Louis, kind of keep it cool. While being in St. Louis, he meets his plug, Jay Pusha, right? Which is, I think it's J-Bo from most of those, If you watch the story, I think the timeline seems weird because the dude they got playing J-Bo seems hella old, right? That's our guy Bodie from The Wire. But yeah, so Meech returns back from St. Louis to Atlanta, goes to the strip club to celebrate his return. And when he gets to the strip club, guess who he sees at the strip club? His little, Miss Angel, right? It was the girl that Meech was messing with when he got to Atlanta. He took her from Neo's character, Greenie, right? Which Neo played the hell out of that character. I don't care what nobody says. But Meech took him from Greenie, the strip club dude, earlier, and she was rocking with Meech. And then when Meech had to leave off to St. Louis because of the situation, this dumbass girl is going to look at him and say, well, since you leaving me, I think I'm going to go work for Glock. He pays well, right? And if y'all don't know who Glock is, all y'all need to know is Glock is the ops. That's all you need to know. He is he a Haitian dude from Florida. He trying to run Atlanta by killing everybody pretty much, right? And him and Meech just in the episode 7, they had just gotten to a big shootout, right? So that's who the girl that Meech was rocking with heavy, looking out for her, taking care of her, she decides she wants to go work with when Meech says, hey, I got to leave because it's getting a little hot out here for me, right? So bam, instantly kicks her ass out the circle of trust, right? Next up, oh, no, let me continue. So, as you know, he's seeing the club, you know, of course, ego, right? The girl I used to be with, the girl, you know, I didn't kicked it with, did this shit for all of this, you know, now she with the ops, right? So what do a young dude with money do, right? You in a strip club, pull out your stacks and make it rain, right? That's the only way to kind of caress the ego a little bit after seeing this, right? I don't care what nobody say. If I had money, I'm definitely gonna make it rain in the club, right? So Glock sees this ish, and you know, instead of tripping, goons, y'all relax. We're just gonna get out of here, right? Meech's gonna be done, but we're gonna get him out of here, right? So yeah, so that's in the Meech's area. Then you got your guy T, right? Which, if y'all are watching this, they not making T look really good. I don't know if he had a hand in it or he is accepting any type of accountability for his role in everything, but T ain't making the most common sense decisions, right? Especially one with Markeisha, right? Which I think Markeisha, if anybody's been watching it, we're going to blow it. Markeisha has definitely been, I think she was the one who called the CPS on LaWanda and them, right? Understanding that she could probably use her resources and get help and get the baby, get the situation taken care of, right? So she's very manipulative, especially to this young T. She's a cougar, obviously. So she knows a little bit more in this, right? So T's dealing with that. Last episode 7, Markeisha, you know, sees an old friend, a cop that used to work for her ex-husband, right? So now the cop sees, hey, you single? From my looks, you single? What's up? Let me get in, right? Not knowing that Markeisha is dating T. But Markeisha does this intentionally. She tries to make T jealous. So she's talking to the cop, introduces him, right? And you can see the cop does his little, try to big bro T a little bit for the most part. And it doesn't work too much, you know? But you can see it obviously turn Markeisha on, right? And that's what she wants. That's the type of person she is, right? She needs to kind of have that attention on her, right? So she does that, and you know, T just kind of trying to step in and does his little man thing, right? But again, I think T has an issue with Markeisha for the most part. I think she is a downfall. I think he listened to her a little too much, which kind of created some divide, right? So episode 8, that cop still on Markeisha, walks into T's restaurant, makes a few little threats, tells him that, hey, I can get the IRS over here. They can do some research, look into these numbers, because I know you you ain't do this with no clean money. This is like dirty money, right? So T says, bro, I got a legit business and you need to get your ass, a legitimate business, and you need to get your ass out of here, right? Cop does, but T a little worried. So he sends his man, hey, I need you to follow him. I need you to watch him, right? I need to get some dirt info on this dude, right? Right? So later, Markeisha and T, episode 8, meet up again. Guess who pulls up? Punk ass cop dude gets in between T and Markeisha, right? On some, excuse me, little boy, big bro him again type shit, big bro him, right? T didn't had it. He didn't fed up. Goes in on the guy. Hey, I know you be here, be there, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. I'm watching you. Keep playing. Your ass gonna be dead. Long story short is what he told this cop, right? Cop looked at him, said, okay, right. I'm going to go ahead and leave him alone. So T got some issues that he's going to have to figure out. And, you know, we're just going to see what happens to him, right? My next character, which is the dumbest character, another one, is Detective Brian. Now, Brian ain't taking no accountability for the death of his son. We're not even going to get into too much about Brian. Just know, Brian, you the reason why your son is dead. You made a lot of decisions and actions that put your son in that position of, you know, being alive or unaliving himself, right? You need to look in the mirror and take some accountability. Not T, not Meech, not Henry. Henry is definitely a part of it. Her ass needs to be out of here soon, right? But you're definitely to blame when you got into bed with the devil himself, trying to protect your son, understanding that when you were doing the dumb shit that you was doing, it would eventually lead up to your son not getting the protection that he needed. So, bro, hold that L. Right. Then my Asian cop, the Asian girl, which I like her, she's cool, but she's obviously gonna die. Right. She's definitely getting a little too close to Henry after Brian said, hey, get away. To me, it seems foreshadowish, right? If she don't die, something happens to her, right? But she's doing this little undercover thing, trying to get some information on Henry and her family, which Brian already knows about, which I don't understand why he just didn't disclose all that information with her, right? But that's here and there. But she's definitely, I think, getting close to the sun, and she's definitely going to burn one way or another, doing too much. pretty much is what's gonna get her ass killed, right? Doing too much. Then Lucille and Pops. Those two are my favorite ones right now. And it's funny because Pops, you can see Pops changing. Pops trying to do whatever he can to get his family back. He know the good doctor is in a place, right? The good doctor is Maurice, who appeared in the episode 6, who used to be one of Lucille's high school crushes, right? Whatever happened, she chose Charles, and then she moved on. But then after Charles fucked up, had sex with Miss Mabel, put that wedge into their relationship. Now you giving open options for Lucille, right? So the good doctor with good timing came back into Lucille's life when Charles is messing up, and he trying to rekindle that relationship that they had, right? So in the midst of that, Lucille is doing her thing, right? We've seen it. If you watched it, Lucille is meeting up with the doctor, going out to the dinner, letting Charles know, hey, I'm going out with the good doctor tonight. We're going to dinner, Charles. That's to be honest in our relationship, right? But one thing that made me mad, and if I was Charles, sometimes I understand it's your family and things like that, which I'm not going to be, I ain't going to be too on the fence about it. But when Charles said, hey, I'm going to perform with your favorite gospel band. And she said, ooh, Charles, that's good. Charles says, can you come? She goes, if I can bring the doctor, jokingly. That shit wasn't no joke to me. I would have been hot. I would have been offended. But Charles can't do that right now, right? He's trying to get his family back. So he gonna take the comments and he's gonna take the L's, right? I think another funny thing was when T was cutting Pop's hair, and Pop's is struggling, confining his son, and talking about, hey man, you got any work at the restaurant that I can come do just to make some money? I get some new threads and whatnot. So T goes, yeah, pulls out a wad of cash, say, hey, here's an advance, give him some racks. I don't know. It looked like a lot of money, right? So we all know Pop's been standing on business since the first episode in season 1, right? That he don't want to do nothing with no drugs, no drug money, nothing, right? Tune changes a little bit, right? Being close to divorce change a little bit, right? So Pops takes the money and he says to T, I'm only taking this because I'm trying to keep the family together, right? Which, hey, it might be one of his tools. It might be something that he is trying to do, right? But you can obviously see that Charles is doing whatever he can, right? Even if it is accepting drug money to go buy some new fabrics to put on, some new equipment to help him perform that night, right? But you obviously see, what's going on for the most part, right? Then last on this one, Clemmy and Rod. So Remy and Claude. Remy is the guy that live in Tegwood, the African looking nigga with the dreads, and his right hand man is Clyde, right? So Meech has been trying to get Remy and them to come together, but obviously Remy is a hard-headed dude, right? He ain't listening, big ego, right? But his right-hand man is listening. He's trying to go with Meech for the most part because he understands that he trying to eat, he trying to get money, and messing with Remy, it's a drought, right? So Claude then tries to organize the other drug dealers, right? Probably like the other 5-6 drug dealers in the neighborhood or wherever at, to try to come together to get Remy out, bring Meech in on all his supplies, right? In the midst of that, Remy walks in, listens to their conversation, and this is what got me mad. And they did this in season 2 with Lamar and Lamar partner. Episode 8, BMF. Remy walks in on Clyde having this little powwow discussion with the other drug dealers. Says, fuck Meech. Pulls out punches Claude. Punches him, knocks him down. Claude looking at old boy. And then Remy gets on top of him, cuts his tongue out. Like, you niggas can't react. You ain't got no reaction when somebody punch you. You just fall straight back. You don't get back up. You don't move. You just look up. That bothered me, right? Not only did he cut his tongue out, stabs him in the neck, kills him, toss the tongue onto the table, then take a blunt from somebody. Like, come on. First of all, it was 5 other people in that room around that table. Y'all telling me y'all couldn't jump this dude if it was that serious, right? If y'all felt some type of way, if y'all was really scared, y'all couldn't have jumped him. So that's what I didn't like, right? But pretty much that's the recap. That's all I cared about. Again, this ain't the strongest season of BMF. It's definitely been slow to develop. But again, it's just a part of the journey. It is a true story show for the most part, with a few things that have been exaggerated a lot and things like that. But it's part of the process. Just be there, right? We're going to see something better next season, hopefully. We just got to enjoy this journey. This season to me is like season 2 with a Wire. Right, when they did the port, they did the seaport, and they pretty much did the white side of the shows and things like that. When it was slow, it was all right. It was giving you bits and pieces, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't what people wanted, right? But yeah, so that is that. on BMF. Next, we're gonna keep it quick. Music. Now, I don't have a lot of new music. I just want to talk about some new beefs that's going on, right? Just give y'all a quick update on what's going on out here, right? So, for those that don't know, Chris Brown, Quavo been dropping disses at each other. For what reason? I mean, I know what reason, but at this point, for what reason? Don't make no sense, right? So pretty much the beef started over years ago between Chris Brown and Quavo over a female, right? How typical, very common, right? And we all know, we've seen Chris Brown in his antics recently, right? So of course Chris Brown does what he does, but Quavo definitely sends a shot at Chris first, right? So he sends a shot at Chris after we just seen them in Paris sitting next to each other. And we all know, even at those basketball games, Chris Brown has definitely called out Quavo, telling him to get his bitch ass out of here to come hoop. He's done it twice, right? So it seems friendly, right? But then you hear these songs right here, right? So I'm going to play you Quavo's first, right? Because he sent the first shot. Quavo sent the first shot out. So that is Tender by Quavo. That is how he's feeling, right? Definitely got whatever he got off his chest against Chris, and felt what he had to say. Which to me, I think this is just so petty. Y'all are talking about it's females, right? It's just females. Again, you guys live in an industry or work in an industry where these things are a dime a dozen. Women are a dime a dozen, especially gorgeous women like they've been messing with. So for them to fight, that's why I say I feel like these certain women, it's a limited women in Hollywood that have great personality along with how they look. It has to be like, it's just a select few, because these same guys keep messing with the select few of girls and they keep having these same issues, right? Just don't make no sense to me. Not nothing at all, not one sense, right? But this is Chris Brown's response. Right? So that's what we got right there. That's Chris's beef or his response. And honestly, to me, I think that shit was a little more clever so far. Well, not clever, but I think it's a little more impactful. This beef is definitely like preliminary again, right? These are prelims to the big Drake, Kendrick, Ross, all that shit. It's definitely preliminary. Prelims. I can't say the whole word, right? So that's what we getting out of this. So they obviously feel some type of way about each other. Whatever it truly is, I hope they leave it to music and don't seem that serious. It's over women, right? Chris definitely said he was smashing Sweetie while Quavo and Sweetie was together, right? Which Quavo might have heard his reason of him going to mess with Carucci, right? So it's ego, right? That's all it is. But that's that. We're going to leave it at that. Again, I hope it stays at music. I hope it don't get more than what it is. We all know both these guys capable of doing more, fighting, hopefully, if that is the next level. But just leave it at that. Just leave it at that, right? Next up, what we've been waiting for the most part, Drake drops another one. So he drops this joint right here, which we ain't gonna play the whole shit, but I'm gonna just give you a little. Bam, right? So that was that. That's what his response was to Ross, Future, and K Dot, right? And which we kind of see things kind of just unraveling a little bit. Kind of makes it seem why we understand why Cole kind of tapped out a little bit, right? It doesn't seem like it's strictly music. It seemed like it's a little more personal than that, which Cole is just here for the raps. He is just in it for the raps, right? So I think now we could probably take the asterisk off because of understanding the situation, right? It's really a beef between Drake and Kendrick, right? With some great comedy relief from Ross, if you ask me. I think Ross has been doing a lot of great comic relief in this bitch for me, if you ask me. But here, I want y'all to listen to this because this right here was the funniest thing to me, real quick. Hold on.
Rick Ross, big ass. Metro is
Hold on.
Future got his #1 hit because of me. Kendrick is a bitch and he got some small feet. You know who not smart? Rick Ross, big ass. Metro, shut the fuck up and make some beats, Metro. Metro, shut your bitch ass up and make some beats, Metro. I can't stand, man.
Right? So that sums up that response, right? So not only does Drake give that, he does his back to back, right? Not only does he does his back to back with dropping another diss track, he gets very clever. And it took me a little minute to understand it, but he gets very clever. He comes in and he drops a song using AI voice, which Drake is definitely behind those AI tracks that was leaked. He was definitely behind those AI tracks that leaked. I don't care what nobody say. I see some people in other pods confirmed it, but and when he did this, it made me go, oh, it was him. It was him, right? So this is his response, right, in the voices of Pac and Snoop.
Hey, Grady. Your name is some hip-hop history. If you deal with this viciously, you seem a little nervous about all the publicity. For this Canadian light-skinned doc, we need to know the baby West Coast victory, man. Call him a bitch for me. Talk about him liking young girls as a kid for me. Heard it on the Budding podcast. It's got up and running up.
Right. I know you never been to jail, orange jumpsuits and shower shoes. Never shot nobody, never stabbed nobody, never did nothing violent, and no one. It's the homies that empower you, but still, you gotta show.
Right. So Drake is just, again, when it comes to beef, I think we all can understand that or know that Drake might be a little different when it comes to these beef. He takes him a lot serious. So you mention his name, and I'm gonna say this with him. You mention the King's name, and you come at the King. You better go for the neck. Right. Shout out to Omar from The Wire. So that is what Drake is. That is Drake's zone. So his response is very tactical. I think it's very clever. But I think Drake is scared. Right. He's doing all these tactics. He's doing all these things because I think he understands that Kendrick will come at his neck. Right. So Drake has to do all of these little things and these antics. Right. Even with this, even releasing these AI tracks. Right. To say that Pac and Snoop is disappointed in the way he might be dealing with this beef. Right. To me, it's clever. It's funny. Right, it's clever, it's funny, but to me, I think it shows that Drake might be a little worried. Right, he might be a little worried. The longer that Kendrick waits, lets that stay at number one. The longer he waits, the more nervous Drake gets. Right, and again, we know it. Something's coming. Right, Kendrick's not just gonna send a shot like that and then not have anything to come behind it. Right, to me, it wouldn't make no sense to do that shit. And again, I'm looking forward to it. Right, we know Ross dropped his. Ross drops this right here. Hold on. Do this.
Get the floss, what you could have had. Record label taking a loss, are you in your bag? You a worker on the chart. Don't make me laugh. Get the mind, tell by my watch, this a different time. Living fine, I'm getting high as your shit decline. Who believes he moving keys in his Louis V's? Run up on you and snatch your chain, watch you bitches bleed. Feel the pain or just describe where you really ride. Either you niggas get...
Right, so that is Ross. Now Ross has jumped in. Ross's reasoning for his diss is Drake sent a cease and desist to French Montana for a song, right? Which we all know, we've all heard French Montana, Drake, Ross, all of them on multiple songs together, right? So I can understand that Ross is like, bro, what you doing? You're doing some weird shit. Like, what did you we all got a relationship. I'm pretty sure we all could have talked about this. We could have spoke about this. However it could have went down, right? But obviously those things did not happen, and Ross felt some type of way. Now, again, I keep saying Ross, I don't think he has no real, like, quarrel right, with Drake, right? Maybe business, things like that, but nothing like to go out of his way to really say something, right? So I think he's just been comic relief. He's definitely been saying a lot of funny things. He's definitely been calling Drake white boy, which has been extremely fucking funny. Calling him white boy, right? We say he got a big nose. It's just, I think it's comic relief, right? It's hella comedy relief from Rick Ross's, and I'm here for that, right? I think he keeps it funny. It keeps it light. It keeps it a little bit light, right? But then who hops in it? Who does? Hold on, I'm gonna just play it. We gonna talk about this, right? Hold on.
Come about who called who?
Yeah, Pluto called me. I went to the studio, laid that, and then we went through the the creative process, adding the chords and called the hooligans. called him out in London to get on a joint. And, you know, everybody was very, very excited about the elimination of Drake.
Yo,
We were not excited. We was energized.
So before I get into my, the song, because he did his own verse, is Kendrick, is Drake now Thor? I mean, not Thor, Thanos. Looks like he's Thanos now, right? Future's gathering the Avengers, technically, right? Gathering whoever it may be to go against him. Like Drake said, what is this, a 20v1? And it looks like it for the most part, right? Which, to me, it brings back how can men, Kanye West, how can one man have so much power, right? And this is what they have allowed Drake to have. He has a lot of power in that. That comment that Ye said shows the power that Drake has, shows how people in the industry feel about Drake, right? They don't fuck with Drake like that. They fuck with him for what he can do for them, right? Which Drake has said that, but pretty much they fuck with him for what he could do for them, right? And there has seemed like there has definitely been some tension, or Drake has been pissing people off throughout these last few decade in his run of music, right? Obviously, these people feel some type of way about this shit, right? But real quick, we're gonna play Ye's. So that is Ye's response, right? And Lucien, we all heard Drake talk about Lucien, which he is the founder or CEO of Universal, right? So Ye is definitely getting his 2 cents in of this in his beef, right? Which definitely we all know that shit has been brewing, right, for the longest, for the most. But that is where we're at with this beef so far, right? Kendrick has yet to respond, which I'm a fan. I'm waiting on you, Dot. You're making me nervous, right? You're making me nervous. That's all I'm going to say for the most part, y'all. But this whole thing has been funny. I think Drake sending the strippers to Atlanta sending the drummers to that strip club in Atlanta, super funny. I know everybody said that, but I thought that was hella hilarious. I think Drake just plays a different game with certain people, right? So he could play certain games with some people, not everybody, right? But that to me is comedic relief. That's all I got in that sense. But that's it, guys. That's all I got. I ain't got too much going on. I just want to give y'all a quick update. Hopefully later on in this week, I will drop another episode and we get down to some things that, today is only Monday. So I think Wednesday, Thursday, I'm releasing another episode, so hey, hopefully there's some stuff goes down, nothing too crazy that goes down for the week. But we about to get out of here. I'm gonna play my jam that's been brewing in my head. I do this dance in my head all the time, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and bless this. Cash Cobain and Bass Swag Fisher, right? Thank y'all for tuning in to another great episode of the Common Sense Podcast. Again, I am your host, Mac1, Kylan, whatever you like. Thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate y'all checking me out. Y'all be smooth.